you need to go and do now also. So two things. You need to register for your attendance for today because Palo Alto needs it. This one, you need to register your request for the class because Palo Alto also needs this. Yeah, so you need to do two things. You need to do two things. Okay. Then the next thing that we are going to do, is we're going to do URL filtering. After I'm done with URL filtering, we'll go for lunch. Lunch, you come back. I'll give you time for the lab. Lab is also same. I'm going to give you about 45 minutes for this lab. Then we will do our last one, which is wildfire. Wildfire finish, I will let you off for today after the lab is done. So today should be slightly earlier than yesterday. Okay. So remember, you must do, I have a few students who have done. Okay, I'll tell you who has done it already. Okay, Radhika has done it. Hong Chia has done it already. Raymond has done it. Led has done it. Yi Hyang has done it. Toon has finished. Hong has also done it already. Then there is Duke has done it as well. Then you have Son. Son has also done it. So the rest, if you have not done and you don't know how to do, can ask your colleague. Okay, if the rest you do not know how to do, can ask your colleague. I think most of the students' address, right, the email is from all the different companies. So if you do not know, you can ask. Don't know again, ask me. Okay, I will show you one more time. Okay, I'll show you one more time. If not, you share your screen. Okay, you cannot share your screen, too bad. Okay, I'll show you one more time. Okay, we are going to move on to the lesson. The lesson is on URL filtering. The lesson is on URL filtering. So if you take a look at my screen, we are going to do URL filtering. Okay, very short lesson only. You see 29 slides. Yeah. Okay. Then after that, tomorrow we will do the networking stuff, which means I'm going to do user ID tomorrow. I'm going to do VPN tomorrow. So yeah, so I'm going to do user ID and VPN. So if you take a look at my list, I have user ID, Global Protect, VPN. Then after that, maybe tomorrow we will also do, but okay, actually the monitoring I'll probably do on Friday. Yeah, so tomorrow we will just do the nice stuff. Friday, no more functionality except HA. Friday, no more functionality except HA. Come. So you do URL filtering. So URL filtering does not come from the thread database. URL filtering does not come from the thread database. So if you take a look, the password protected zip file, I've already shared an article. It is stated very clearly that we cannot check. Okay, that we cannot check password encrypted zip files. Okay, we cannot check. Okay, so next thing. When you are doing the decryption, you can only do two forms of decryption. It's either SSL decryption or SSH decryption. The rest of the third-party decryption we also cannot do. Okay, so password encrypted file cannot scan. We only do SSL and SSH. No third-party decryption. Okay, so this one done. We're going to do URL filtering. URL filtering, we don't do the thread database. We are using this functionality called PenDB. So I'm going to do a little bit of history, very old already. I've done Palo Alto training for too long. Last time when I do Palo Alto training, we actually have two databases. You either use PenDB or you use Bright Cloud. You either do PenDB or you do Bright Cloud. But now we actually only run PenDB URL filtering. So if you are keen on having URL filtering capabilities with the updated list of malicious website from Palo Alto, then what you can do is you can then subscribe to PenDB licensing. Yeah, so they call it URL filtering license, but it's also sometimes written as PenDB URL filtering license. Okay, so you can do a URL filtering profile. We'll talk about safe search. We'll talk about logging options. Then we see how we make sure that if people access the SaaS application, you're using the enterprise version of it. You're using the enterprise version of it. Can understand? Okay, next one. So this one is the same. So the question that we have is, we actually have two things to work with. Number one, we have URL category is for matching. Matching. So URL category is where? Inside security policy. We will cover this later. Number two, you then have URL filtering profile. Then this one is for the individual website. We will take a look at this later. Don't worry. Yeah, let's start now. So the URL filtering profile is yet another security profile. So today is like profile day. That's why I put the lesson like that. Yesterday, you have your decryption with your security. So your security policy, your net policy, your decryption policy. Everything was policy yesterday. Today, everything is profile. Okay? So we take a look at URL filtering security profile. So we have PenDB. PenDB, you need license. What happens is Palo Alto will have a list of URLs, and they would have the category, their personal category of the URL. That means the URL category is Palo Alto driven. Okay. Then after that, what you also have is you can also define it on your own. You don't need license, but this one is very manual. You can use the category inside your security policy. I'm going to refresh my connection. So I'm going to queue off one student's connection. I think the connection I have is Raymond's connection. I'm going to cut you off. I'm so sorry. Okay, I don't have an account. I don't have an account. So I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off. Later you come back. Okay. So here, if you take a look, we go to the firewall. The one thing I wanted to show you was, if you take a look at the security policy, security policy itself where we create. What you will see is URL category here. URL category is meant for matching. Policy matching. Okay. Next thing, let's go back to our slide deck. Oh, this one I have to close. I finished this one. So what will happen is, you need to remember, we have one for matching, we have one for profile. When will profile happen? Profile will only happen after the policy has matched. Okay, profile will only happen after the policy has matched and the policy say continue. The policy say allow. Then you can go to URL filtering. Okay, remember this. So if you are doing security policy, right? Actually, security policy is very fun. Okay, why security policy is very fun? We do matching on source, destination, IP, port, protocol. Okay, this one you know already. Johnson tissue already, nothing too special. We also do matching. So these are all the match stuff. Yeah, these are the match stuff. This is the first set. Second set, we do matching also on application. App ID, we also match on service. Next one. Okay, we can also match on user ID, also HID. Next one. Yeah, we can also match on So if you take a look at our security policy, right, our security policy is very focused on every single part of the packet. We want to have a lot of information. Same packet, everybody's receiving the same packet. The question is, how much of this information is available to you when you're running the Paloalto file? Okay, so in this case, right, actually, if you take a look at Paloalto, we take that information and we can give you a lot of visibility. Okay. So for URL category is used in the policy for match purposes. So you take a look at my slide deck, I don't look at my board anymore. URL is matched to a custom URL category or a predefined one. Your action will be inside the security policy. The category name is inside URL filtering log. Very nice. Yeah. Last time it used to be quite messy. Yeah. Now everything is inside URL filtering log. You go to the filtering security profile. After the traffic is allowed, then you do the URL filtering. Okay. The category is the same. No special category. But you can do a lot more things. Okay. See? Can be very detailed. Yeah. Okay, next one. So you have your URL filtering log. There's actually 4 different activities or 4 different actions. You have your alert. Alert means what? Alert means what? Alert means security lock. Oh, sorry. Alert means the lock. I don't use the word security lock. Alert means the lock got entry, but I allow. Block means the lock has entry, but I block. Third, they need to press the word continue. Then I allow, but I also lock. Fourth, I lock. I ask them to click, but they need to give me a password. Then I let them continue. Can you understand? So if you take a look at the URL filtering log, it logs many, many different kinds of action. We have 4 different actions for URL filtering. Okay. Then my student say, Johnson got one extra one. The extra one is override. The extra one is override. Okay. So the URL filtering logs, you can use our profile, our box profile. You can click each item to display the category, but you can also take a look at the category if you go to Paloalto and check. Okay, if you go to Paloalto and check, data will show you. Okay, so you have your URL filtering. It's multi-category, it's re-space. So you can decide which one you want to do. You want to do it because you know the specific name of the website. You want to do because the website is deemed risky or not risky. You want to do because the website is a certain category, or you can go and decide. Yeah. So you see the categories in Paloalto will give you what? The site's risk, the site's content, the site's purpose and function. Okay. Then you can do per configuration. Okay. Before I show you this screen, the thing you have to take note is this. How do we do matching? How do we do matching? When we do URL matching, we are matching based on custom things that you have created first. Custom URL category that you have created. We are also allowed to take external dynamic lists. Let's say your organization is, or you're working with a customer who is multinational company. Let's say they take a URL category from their head office. They don't have access to the URL filtering server there. They take a category from the head office and it's a file. Then what you do is you put it in as an external dynamic list. Okay, you put it as an external dynamic list. You can use what is available on the firewall as well as what is available from PenDB Cloud, depending on whether you have access to the internet or not. Okay. So configure a custom URL category, go to the custom object, go to URL category, and you can edit. Okay, go to the custom object, URL category, then you can add the thing, nothing too special. Okay. Your filtering page. Remember, we have a continue. Continue, you have to put a pass. Continue, you have to click the word continue. Override, you have to put in a password. You have to put in a password. Yeah, so the administrator enters the override password. Okay, before you can continue. Okay. How to put in the override password? Go to the device setup content ID, URL admin override. So it's actually over here. Go to the device. Then after that, go all the way to the top, go to setup, look for content ID, scroll down a little bit more, here, under URL filtering, click. Then after that, wait, wrong, let me see, here, URL admin override, add here. That's the password. Okay. You're not giving the password to the user. It's just that when they visit the site, they need to ask you. Then you need to go down and click. And you go down and type. Okay. Next. So you have your URL admin override. Then after that, you also have your timeout password or your timeout period. Yeah. So both of these is available in the device setting. Okay, in the device setting. Okay. Before we go to save search, let's go to the content. Let's go to the URL filtering first. So I'm going to go to the screen, go to the object, Here you'll be able to see URL filtering profile. Go into the URL filtering profile. This is the list available, which is default. I can click in so that I can show you. So here you see a list of all the categories. These are all the predefined categories. If you want to, you can be taking a look at the URL filtering setting, which you will see later. You have your user credential detection. Okay, I better clone this so that you can see. Let me clone this. Okay. Okay. So let's take a look at this. I'm sorry, Raymond, later you can clear this, can? Johnson's fault. Okay. So you have your URL user credential detection. Here you will see this. You have your HTTP header insertion. You will see all this. Later we'll cover. Yeah, later we'll cover. Okay. But for us, if you want to see the list of the category, you can take a look at the profile. The profile here will show you the list. If you want to see what is inside, cannot. You have to search individually. Example, I go to URL filtering, Paloalto networks.com. I click in the website. The website I am clicking in is the company's website, bridgingminds.net. I search. Okay, I have to tell them I'm not robot. Oh dear, chipney, verify. I search. You see? They give me tell you training. So if I go to Paloalto networks.com, search. Not robot. Traffic light. See? Low risk. Okay, of course we are low risk. Safe place. You see the request change here? You can put in a request if you think the category is not correct. Yeah. Remember, you put in a request, no guarantee the thing will work. Okay. Next thing. So when you take a look at your configuration, to know the category, you cannot have that list of category from Paloalto. It's their license IP. So what you can do is you can just search. Okay. So when you're configuring the URL filtering, this is the extra things. Just now we saw the categories. So you take a look at the categories over here. This is the category. Okay. Then you can tell them swimsuit, you want to allow or don't allow. Do you want to allow them to put in credentials? Allow or don't allow. Can you understand? Okay. Okay. Then you have your URL filtering settings. Okay. When you are doing logging, logging of the URL filtering, do you log everything or do you just log the main page? That's what it means by log container page. By default, we will log container page. Okay. If the website that the person is visiting is a search website, if you want the safe search to be enforced, okay, then what will happen is they will give them back the result, but it's bounded by safe search. Okay. Johnson's recommendation is always alert. But you see, alert means you have log entry. If you have log entry, if you think the place is very safe, then you just allow, no problem. Okay, if you think the place is very safe, then you just allow. But if you think it's not so good, then what you can do is you can alert. See, like for example, do we see alert anywhere? Do we see alert anywhere? Yeah. Don't have everything is allow or block. Then you decide whether you want alert or not. Okay? Because alert will have a lot of log entry. Alert will have log entry. Every single log entry takes up resources in the firewall. That's why by default, Paloalto, we don't put alert, we only put block when it is not safe at all. Okay, we only put block if it is not safe at all. Okay, next one. So when we were talking about this, I was sharing with you that if the organization is wants to have the safe search from the website or the search website, then what we can do is we can take the safe search. So how does it work? You go to some websites when they are doing searching, they have those kind of age safety search where they can only search result and it's all the result that is safe. Okay, it's all the result that is safe. There will be no unsafe result. Okay, that means all the abortion, all the weapon, all the sexual stuff, all the gambling stuff, by default, the safe search should block it off. So if you want to respect this safe search, then you can click safe search. Okay. Then your header logging, do you want all this extra information, the forwarder, the referral, the referrer, and then after that, the user agent. Yeah, so these are all the extra information that you can capture. Next thing. So if you have a safe search, they will give you a very proper response page to tell the user that the search comes from safe search. So that's very safe. Where do you go for the response pages? You can go to the device tab here, and on the left-hand side, search for response page, which is this one. Oh, response page. Okay, sorry, scroll too fast, response page. Okay. So we have credential phishing. We have got credential phishing. Credential phishing prevention is where we are very worried about people giving their user ID and password to website that is doing phishing. So what you do is you check whether you are keen on using IP user mapping, or you're keen on people offering their domain credential, or you're using group mapping. Yeah, so you're looking for the individual user, you're looking for their group, or you're looking for people offering domain credentials. Okay, so if you want, you can take a look, because credential phishing itself is a functionality that is available after Paloalto 8, after PanOS 8. Okay, next thing. So you have your HTTP header insertion and modification. This is used to make sure that only the enterprise versions of the SaaS application can be used. So if I'm using Google, it must be the enterprise edition of the Google. So Google Suite. If I'm using Office 365, it must be the enterprise version of the Office 365. Yeah. So the dynamic field allow you to put the authenticated user header. It allows you to insert HTTP header. It allows you to modify the information when you're working with these 4 products. Okay. So what happens if it is unknown? That means you go to Palo Alto, then you ask Palo Alto, what is this website? Then Palo Alto tell you, I also don't know. So this is called unknown. So what happens if it is unknown? You should have information that it is unknown, which means you highlight, you get a highlight that it is unknown. Can you understand? So it's URL not found. Okay. So URL request, they don't know, they ask the URL from the cloud service, they also don't know, come back, don't know, then you give back, also don't know. Okay, it's all unknown. Can? Not resolved and don't know is different. Not resolved and unknown is different. Okay, because for their unknown, right, it's unknown URL category. Okay, unknown URL category. That means it is available, but it is unknown. This one is where it is not resolved. That means the URL is not resolved. Okay, so very different things, yeah, very different things. Okay. So URL request, URL lookup don't have, not resolved. Yeah, very different. Okay. You can do recategorizing. I told you before just now. I also show you on the screen. You can recategorize. Have to wait. Have to wait. Okay. Might not always work. Might not always work. Yeah. Best to do it from the Palo Alto, from the firewall. Don't do it from the website. Don't do it from URL filtering.paloalto network. Okay. Don't use that. Okay. So this is the web page. You should have done it through the firewall. Let's see how to attach. Then we are done already. Attach same. Attach same. After you have created the URL filtering, it is not in use until you put it together with the security policy. Go to the security policy and put it under the security profile. So generally speaking, your URL filtering is very, very useful when your traffic is outgoing to the internet. Okay. So assigning profiles, this is the same. Okay, I'm done with this lesson. Any question for this one first? Any question for this one first? Okay, you're very nice to Johnson. Yeah. So I'm going to go for lunch, but I'm going to give you instructions so that you can go for lunch as well. Okay. So the lab would be, this lab is called URL filtering. URL filtering. Only 45 minutes. Don't need 75 minutes. 75 minutes is too long. Okay. So it's actually now 12:40. Now 12:40 Singapore time. 12:40 plus 2 hours, 14:30. Okay. So your lab is 45 minutes. Your lunch is 65 minutes. 65 minutes. Yeah, correct. So 65, 110. Correct. Okay. So go and enjoy yourself. Please make sure you have done the attendance. Later during lunch, you're going to do it one more time after lunch. Then make sure you register because I'll check again. Okay. If not, I will let you go for lunch. I'll see you later. Okay. Bye.